Thank you for staying with us here on Politics Today. Well, we've been talking about the preparation of INEC. Well, the fear of some Nigerians is the fact that if the Commission had not given the issue of security as an excuse, or given as a reason, rather, for the postponement of the election, some people have the fears that INEC wasn't even ready anyways.
You see, I have said over and again, and before even the readjustment, I have granted, various interviews and I've had interactions. You see, election preparations is always work in progress, because until even the poll is opened, when it's closed, and retrieval of materials, election is always ongoing. And so preparation is always in progress, because, in fact, the peak of it all is the eve of election. And again, in terms of this issue about security, may I address this here? You see, INEC operates within the environment. One of our first consideration, which was part of your opening montage, was the fact that the whole embrace of democracy is because it brings about participation and accountability in the process of human development. And that participation, free competition, and legitimacy are essential in this year. Some of the greatest hallmarks of a good elections. To participate would mean that you must have been registered. You must not get your permanent voter's card, given that we have tagged the first one as TVC. Now, those who register in the CVR, the continuous voter registration exercise, many of whom were collecting their card. We will be very concerned about issue about apathy. And that is why we are doing so much to ensure that these categories of persons, they are able to collect their PVC. Like you noted a while ago, I can see that this is typical of Nigerians, our people. Between on the 5th to on the 8th, when there was no adjustment of the timetable, you believe that we distributed over 2 million within just 2 days. Now that there have been readjustment of the timetable, as I speak to you, the thing has relaxed at the moment. So is it that we are now waiting for a few days to the exercise? That is one observation.
So you see it's sort of like a lackadaisical
right now,
attitude.
it has dropped now. Collection rate has now dropped.
Well, with 69% of distribution,
yes,
do you still think INEC is ready?
Look,
would you rather have about 29% of Nigerian voters, registered voters, not given the opportunity to vote?
You see, there is no threshold that have been put under any law before we can't go to conduct elections. But the issue of legitimacy is very important. The more people you have participating in the election, the better the legitimacy issue. And I say this, which is the reason why we are interested, which is one of the reasons that we have already considered that we want more people to participate, is the fact that if you look at our history, all the elections conducted, both past and recent, we have never moved beyond 51%, 60%
of voter turnout.
Of voters turnout.
That means that on election day,
yes,
not more than 50% of registered voters come out to vote.
Now, I give you an example here. I have a table before me here. As at 2011, Nigerians, when we register, if you look at the Ondo State election, for instance, that was conducted in 2012, out of 1,638,950 registered voters with TVC in their hands, in that election, the total valid votes was 594,244. That is 36% participation, which means that on those over 1 million did not vote. In Anambra election, out of 1,770,127, the total valid votes was 425,254. That is 24%. That's 24%. All right? Similarly, Ekiti election, the total number of registered voters was 733,000. The total valid vote cast in the whole election was 350,366.
So
that is 47%.
Invariably, there's always been...
It was only Osun State that got to 50%. Those states, where I am at the moment, in the last governorship election, out of 1.6 million registered voters, the total valid vote cast was 613,099. That gives you a total of just 39%.
Interesting.
The summary of all of this is the reason why we are saying that as many people as possible, if we can record this kind of dismal participation, when people have TVC in their hands, let us do everything.
All right, just quickly, it's just the fact that voter apathy has been the order of elections.
Yes.
Show us how this works, just quickly.
Again, as I have said, the idea of the card reader is to return power completely to the owners of power, and that is the electorate. Nobody should have any reason to fear. The concerns are raised that it will not be used uniformly. I don't know where that is coming from. But the point is that here is the permanent voters card of Clerk Babatunde. Right, you put it in here, it verifies.
It makes that tone.
Yes, this is it. It has verified the card. You can see the photo here. You can also see right here on the screen or the card reader.
Like a duplicate information on the card.
Exactly. Now, having seen it here, we're also going to check whether it is here. What is we're going to
whether it tallies with the register you have.
Exactly. You have seen the photo here. That's the man standing before you.
And the fingerprint.
That is right here saying, you can see the man here. You can also see him here.
Okay.
All right?
So if it tallies, what happens?
We will now request him to now put his thumbprint here.
All right.
Now,
where does he put his thumbprint? Show us quickly.
Right here. You're going to put that here.
Okay. When he puts it, what happens?
It will confirm it.
When it does.
This is the same Babatunde who has this.
Assuming you put it now, yes. What will it tell us?
I have to enter it will tell you that it is confirmed, successful. It allows speaker to the hearing of everybody.
Successful
now, yes,
or not successful?
Or not successful. Okay. Now, interestingly, every successful recorded, unsuccessful is also recorded.
All right, quickly.
The presiding officer is not in charge only
of that. So all this information is being transferred
to the server. We are going to send it after this.
Does he use internet?
No, just SIM card.
So the SIM card tallies. He uses mobile network.
Exactly. We have dedicated line.
What of places where these mobile networks does not get to?
The moment you leave your polling unit to where you have reception, you will send it. Even if you don't even send it, that's the presiding officer. The collation officer will request for you to bring it. Once you bring the card out, the first thing we do is send status.
Okay.
It will immediately transmit that data.
All right.
But to secure the polling unit, INEC has decided to do something, or rather to build on what we have also met, which we're going to see on election day. And that is that, like the practice in my profession, once a judge has delivered a judgment, it's said to be functus officio. That is to say, a presiding officer, once the entire data has been entered, the ballot paper, you can see here, the tamper envelope
will be registered.
All right. The entire ballot paper will be right in here. Right. It will be sealed. Right. It will be sealed. All right. Once it is sealed, you cannot tamper with it anymore, except by virtue of Section 133 of the Electoral Act, when there's a matter in court. Because if you attempt to want to see, it will be difficult. Meanwhile, all the data, all of them will also be here to show. This is what we have done to secure the electoral process.
Just a moment, Mr. Egeni, because quickly we need to move and move faster. Mr. Ajijola, just the last minute, unfortunately, we can't get so much from you. From what you have gathered and what you have seen, tell us, what's your take on what we've discussed so far, the card reader and the possibility of his usage on the field? Just quickly, in a few seconds.
Yeah, I think the card reader is good, and I think it will help to reduce a lot of the problems we have been facing before, especially in accreditation. where you have a case before where sometimes the number of accredited voters in a polling unit would be lower than the votes cast, and then all the polling officer needs to do is tick as many names to make it up. But with the card reader, this is not possible. So the card reader is a good development. The fact that it has a long battery life of about 14 hours, and accreditation process is a maximum of 5 hours, I think it's a really good thing. I think the key thing is to ensure that there is no error in distributing it, to ensure that the right card readers get to the right polling units, and that there's a system for addressing any card reader that malfunctions quickly and accurately.
Unfortunately, we can't go more than that. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajola and Mr. Mike Igini. I really want to thank you for time is an issue.
Right,
thank you so much for taking time out.
Redundancy for every polling unit. And of course, you cannot tamper with total number of accredited voters because the information already somewhere at the central site.
All right, thank you so much. That's how far we can go.